Today is Monday, June 8th. I'm trying something different today. So one of the things I've moved away from over the last year, maybe a little bit more, is cooking. And I've always really enjoyed cooking, pretty much since I was maybe 11 or 12, and then even younger when I used to get to watch my mom make cookies and eat the cookie dough and stuff like that. I love to bake too. But with the traveling between work and home and between the city and home, just a lot of driving, we eat out a lot, buy a lot of pre-prepared stuff from Costco. And today things worked out where I was able to work from home and I was able to walk on the treadmill during my workday. So I got my workout in. I don't have to go into town for a butcher class or anything like that. And I have a little bit of extra time. I've been super distracted today trying to plan a hiking and rafting trip in a couple weeks, which got it all booked. So excited I got that done, but still trying to focus on this. So I'm going to make from Love Real Food by Catherine Taylor of Cookie and Kate. She's a food blogger. Colorful Weeknight Burrito Bowls, and I love this book in general. It's vegetarian, but all of the recipes are really easy to adapt to being non-veg, which, you know, we're not veg, or to even being vegan. They're great, and I've made several recipes out of this book. I've made this recipe probably a dozen times at least over the years since I've gotten this book. And you know, the thing about being a veg, John and I talk about now that we have a few acres, maybe we'll do a little bit of homesteading, you know, grow our own food and have chickens and eggs. And truth is, I don't think I could bring myself even to kill a chicken. I can eat eggs, but I don't know if I could do the chicken thing. Maybe. I definitely love to fish, so I guess I draw the line at fish. But yeah, anyway, insert reference to Restaurant at the End of the Universe here. But anyways, I'm gonna make a list. You don't need to watch me do that. And then I'm going to check out the Kroger on 22. I haven't been there yet. I've driven by it several times. There are several grocery stores around us. There's a Kroger in New Lex we've been to a few times. It's fine. It's probably about 20 minutes away. Not too bad. And then there's the Kroger in Lancaster, the one on 22, which is a little bit further away. And then there's another one on 33, the business route. I went to the Giant Eagle on the business route. It was not very impressive, although I think that the stores, John was saying, are having a hard time keeping things stocked right now with fuel prices being what they are and everything else that's going on in the world and the country. There's also a Meijer that I want to check out, but I'm willing to travel a little bit farther for a place that I like. We still do a lot of our shopping in Columbus because they have a Trader Joe's and a Whole Foods, and we go to Costco in Easton almost every week to get pre-prepared stuff and all the, you know, non-perishable stuff that we get there all the time. It would be so super awesome if they opened a Costco in Lancaster, but I still go into the city several times a week just to work out and see friends and stuff. So it's not really a big idea to combine a trip. But yeah, so like I said, I'll make this list and then maybe I'll check in again at the grocery store, and then I'll come back and do a little video of me putting the meal together and how it all comes out in the end. Then I'll clip everything together, probably minimal edits for this longer video. I really want to continue to film videos every day just because, again, the whole reason I started doing this is because I'm trying to bring my focus away from work, which it's just feels like such a huge part of my life, and it's not. It's fine. I get certain kinds of enrichment out of it. It's intellectually challenging. I work with a lot of really good people, but it's also kind of exhausting. And I work for a big corporation, and it is what it is. You know, I feel like I don't need to get into the economic structure of our country and the world, but I just wanted to draw my attention away from all that and remember how much I have to live for when I'm not working. So, but yeah, that's about it for now. I'll check back in. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll clip all of these together, minimal edits, and I had some ideas for some shorter videos, but I can always do those later. So anyway, I'll be back probably almost immediately with the next step in this process. Thanks. Bye. Hey, So I don't want to talk for too long because it's really hot and I have ice cream, which was not on the list, but I got it anyway. It's a pretty nice Kroger, actually, about 17 minutes from the house, so really close. And I was in there for about a half an hour, which was totally my own fault. I just meandered and looked at ice cream and couldn't find the feta and had to circle back to where I started. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to head back home, unload the groceries, get some chores done so that when John gets home, which will be late, the bed will be made because it's currently not. And then I'll get to cooking. Talk to you in a bit. Bye. Okay, so I did my things. John actually got home earlier than I thought, which he usually does. But anyways, going through the recipe, I still haven't gotten super comfortable with the use of the gimbal. I eventually want to get a Pocket 4 and then I'll get a lot more used to it. But just setting up stationary shots in the meantime and going over the preparation for this. So again, I'm making burrito bowls. It's based on like the Chipotle burrito bowl, right? So we have a cilantro lime rice, cabbage and black bean slaw, and then garnishes to go along with that. And so I'm also going to, I got some ground chicken and I'm going to mix the beans in with the chicken. Actually, I guess the beans go in the slaw. I'm going to season and cook up the chicken to go along with it too. So let's just start with the slaw. The recipe has going into the rice first, but I'm never fast at anything because it takes me a terribly long time to prepare. So I have all my stuff piled over there behind me. I'm just going to get out a couple cutting boards and start just chopping stuff up. Seller, please walk all over the counter. You're a star. You're a star, Sally Bear. Girls, your boyfriend is outside. Oh, come on, dude. Get off. Sally, you just walked on the cutting board with your dirty cat feet. Go look out for your boyfriend. The neighbor has a barn cat and they're obsessed with him. He has also started spraying our deck, which is not my favorite, but he's a sweet cat anyways. And everyone is fixed, so it would seem. Please stop walking on my things. I love you, but please stop. No. I was making the bed earlier, and as soon as I put the fitted sheet on, she's like, oh, this is perfect. I've actually put the fitted sheet over her before. She just, I don't know. They like to play on laundry day. Okay, so the slaw we have, and everything needs to be washed. The cabbage, black beans, and it asks for 2 cans of black beans. I only do 1. 2 seems like a lot. All right, I'm gonna pause for a sec and wash everything, and then I will be back. So let's do that. Okay, I think I'm good at the moment. I'm gonna have to wash more stuff, but all right. So, like I said, starting with the slaw. I have the cabbage, so I realize to properly wash the cabbage, I'm gonna have to probably chop it up and put it through the spinner, which is fine. Just take some time. So, I watched a YouTube video this weekend talking about just the new way to vlog and how you just kind of focus on an aspect of your life and then just vlog it, right? So I, as you may have noticed, am not focusing on just one aspect of my life. I'm just, unless you know the very broad aspect of stuff that I do when I'm not at work. And, But I really do love to cook. And when I was in college, I always had a fascination with it. My dad's side of the family, especially, they were all very good cooks. I'm Japanese on my dad's side, but we're Japanese American. My grandparents were just barely born in the United States. I don't really know for sure a lot about my family history. I've never really looked into it. I imagine that they migrated by way of Hawaii, because I'm from California originally. But, and not that all that we ate was Japanese food. It really wasn't. It was just American food. But everyone cooked, and we all loved to eat. And I just always was very interested in the idea of cooking and got into it at a young age. And my cousin Rachel got me this children's cookbook, and I feel like every recipe in there was very difficult, even more so than, I don't know, stuff that's not designated for children. But I still loved it. And when I was in college, I went to Berkeley, UC Berkeley, and I was in the College of Engineering. I used to have Food Network on in the background while I would do my computer programming homework. Those first couple years are just weeder years. You know, they give you way more work than you can possibly finish in the amount of time you have to do it, along with everything else you have to do. At least that was my experience. And I figure I'm probably not the only one that had that experience. But when I was spending hours upon hours doing my programming homework that I was terrible at, like computer programming, I would have Food Network on in the background. And I just really started to get an instinct for things that go well together, I think. Things that I like. And I always loved chopped, and I could always think of something I would make from the ingredients. Not that I would be able to execute in that short period of time. I'm not a professional chef. It takes me, like I said, forever to do anything, and I am not very coordinated or practiced at stuff, but I feel like usually I can make something that tastes pretty good. Oftentimes it doesn't look very good. Presentation is not my strong suit. But yeah, I really do love food. And as I've gotten older and as we've gotten busier, groceries have gotten so expensive too. And I'm thinking, there's this local restaurant in Somerset we like to go to called Strong and Company. Could have probably gotten this same meal for less than what I spent at the grocery store, honestly. Groceries are terribly expensive right now. But, you know, maybe not really. I'm going to probably make a couple meals out of this, I think, and I get the experience of putting everything together, which I like to do. And check out the new grocery store, which I think was a success. That might be my Kroger now, which is cool. It's going to depend on which way I'm coming from and which way I'm going. Since it's so close, it's definitely closer than the one on 33, and it may even be closer than the one in New Lex, so it's handy to know. All the vegetables seem pretty fresh. Haven't tried the meat yet. We'll see. I think that's really hard to come by, like good quality fresh meat anymore, which seems ironic because we're surrounded by farms. But yeah, like I said, I was playing around with John's gimbal, and I didn't really feel comfortable with the way that it was setting up the shot. I will have to play with it some more, but because the night's getting on, like it's after 7, and I gotta get all this cooked, and then I gotta drag all these videos together and make one master video. And I still have to practice drums too. Haven't gotten to that yet today. I had thought about doing another little mini series on my quote unquote controversial favorite and least favorite horror movies. And I was going to rewatch some movies, so I had them fresh in my mind, but then at the last minute I decided to watch Keeper, which is on Hulu now, and I may talk about that in another video, but I just kind of, since I had all this time and got to be in the house and was feeling in kind of a, I don't know, the mood for something fresh and tasty for dinner, I just decided I would give this a shot. Like I said, mostly just gonna cut a bunch of stuff together. And then even here, I'm going to chop up these green onions. So it's 1 red bell pepper. I'm going to do the 1 can of black beans. It says half a cup of green onions. I'm just going to do these 3 green onions. They're quite large. And the other ingredients that go in are the cabbage, cilantro, lime juice, garlic, and olive oil, and sea salt, and then all that gets mixed together and put in the refrigerator. So I think I'm just gonna, again, pause, skip ahead, get all that done, show you the finished product before I put it in the fridge, and then hopefully have stuff staged to start putting the rice together, which is pretty simple. That just needs to cook, and I can show you how I season my meat. And yeah, that'll be, oh, I'm making guac too. They didn't have a whole lot in the way of different varieties of pre-prepared salsas that weren't in a jar. I mean, like, I like to get stuff that's in the refrigerator section that's been prepared. That's relatively fresh. They just had basically pico de gallo mild salsa, which is fine. So I got that instead of the salsa verde, which is what the recipe calls for. There were about 50 different kinds of guac, but the avocados also looked pretty fresh. They also felt a little bit squishy, just a little bit. So I'm gonna take a shot at just making fresh guac, which is just lime juice, avocados, and salt. So I'm gonna take a quick break and throw some stuff together, and then I'll be back with the heated cooking stuff over by the stove. And yeah, be right back. I really want to get better at, well, I haven't even ever tried it yet, but I want to eventually incorporate some time-lapse photography where you can just see me doing the stuff, but you don't have to wait for me to finish doing it, because, like I said, I'm not fast at any of this. But I just wanted to turn back on for the last step of the slaw, which is just a 1/4 cup of lime juice. I already put everything else in there. So it says at least 2 limes, depending on how juicy they are. That was not a lot of juice. I think it says a 1/4 cup of lime juice. I don't know if that was quite a tablespoon. I got an extra one, just in case. And then this will get tossed and put in the refrigerator, and then I just need to cook the rice and cook the meat and make the guac, and that's it. So yeah, I'm gonna do all 3 of these limes, extra limey. Keep this. This is my garbage bag. Okay, I'm just tossing this all together. So move it closer to me. And this is nice because the flavors just all mix together. The longer it sits in the fridge, the more those flavors marry, and then the acid and the limes kind of breaks down that cabbage a little bit. Have nice, like, tough vegetables in here, so they're not going to get too soft, but they'll lose a little bit of that bite. Alrighty. Just gonna finish mixing this up, and again, I think I'm gonna make that guac off camera just in case those avocados turn out to be super tough. And then move on to the cooking part. Alrighty. Okay, so rice is boiling just off screen. You can see the steam. It's kind of an interesting way to cook rice. You just put a bunch of water in a pot, boil it, add a bay leaf, and then add the long grain brown rice. Then you'll add all the seasoning after that's drained and then set for about 10 minutes. Still has a little over 20 minutes left to cook. I'm gonna get started with the chicken, which will cook up really quick. I managed to recruit John to mash up the avocados for me. He doesn't like it. He tells me every time that he does it that he doesn't like it, but he still does it for me, which I appreciate it because it saves time. All right, so rice is boiling. Ground chicken, and I'm really liberal with the seasonings, and I don't really measure very much, so I'm just gonna take, well, first I'm gonna turn this on, add some olive oil. To like medium heat, maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Ground chicken. Just waiting for that oil to heat up. Like I said, the time lapse. All right. I'm gonna drop this in. Toss this in the trash. Wash my hands real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Sometimes I'll throw the chicken in a bowl and like hand mix in all of the spices. I decided to skip that step this time. I'm just gonna toss everything on top, mix everything together as it cooks. And again, pretty liberal with the spices, so sprinkle on the salt. I imagine this is maybe somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I don't put too much salt on just because everything in the dish has salt in it, so you combine everything together to quite a bit of salt. Freshly ground pepper. Just kind of covering the surface of that chunk of chicken in there with that. Onion powder. Sometimes gets sticky. I imagine this is like between a half and a full teaspoon. Garlic. Sometimes a lot of it just falls in there, maybe a teaspoon and a half. I like onion and garlic, so be very liberal with that. Crushed red pepper. That's probably just a little over a pinch, just a little shake. Chili powder you can use a lot of. I use a lot of, probably like a tablespoon. Same with paprika. I will use the sprinkler. Maybe like a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half. Some cumin. About half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. Alright, that's all I got. I'm gonna start crushing everything together. It's all basic, kind of like chili seasonings. Another tactic that I've been directed to use in other recipes, like Cincinnati chili, is to cook all the seasonings and then add your meat. But everything is going to get mixed together throughout this process. Heats up really quick. Once everything is cooked through, it's pretty much just a matter of keeping it warm while everything else finishes up. I maybe could have started the rice a little earlier, but I feel like it still wouldn't have worked out. Like I would have, it would have been done early. I try really hard to manage time, but incorporating this extra element of recording myself and talking and making, you know, trying to make less of a mess than I would if I weren't explaining this to someone. It's thrown my timing off. Not that it's perfect, but it's better than it is right now usually. I don't know. When I was younger and I used to cook, I used to do everything from scratch. I used to love making like handmade pasta. I still have a pasta maker that I don't think I've used in years. And I didn't want anyone in the kitchen when I was cooking. I didn't want anyone watching me. And look at me now. I credit a lot of the loss of my self-consciousness to other than just life experience. A lot of it goes along with being a yoga teacher. And I think I mentioned this in another video, but shifting your intention and focus onto the audience, away from yourself, remembering this is about them, it helps take a lot of the pressure off. I'm going to keep breaking this up, mixing it all together. Pretty close to having everything almost finished. I think the next little clip will just be assembly. And then I'll tie everything together. Try to clean up some transitions, and I guess you don't need to know all the ins and outs of making a video, but just thinking to myself about it. Really excited about this opportunity to be creative, honestly. I want to learn how to make my own animations and Still got to work on the website. Have not gotten to that yet. I want to watch some more videos about it first before doing it. That is just cool. And like I said, eventually getting to the point where I can make my own music to put behind it. I might layer some ambient stuff behind this if I feel up to it by the time I get to it. Honestly, now that I think about it, I probably won't. Not this time anyway, but another time, once I do migrate over to a dedicated camera and away from my phone and I need to pull it off my device to edit anyway. Just CapCut and editing on my phone has made me spoiled. All right. I will be back with the finished product. Okay, final steps. The rice has rested, it has been seasoned with the rest of the ingredients. There was salt, olive oil, cilantro, lemon juice, and lime juice. So that's all been mixed together. Also the bay leaf was removed. And then you just assemble. Take a bowl. Add in some rice in the bottom. A little bit of this ground seasoned chicken. A whole bunch of this slaw. Some of this guac that John mushed. Some of this store-bought salsa. And a little bit of feta. And there you have it, our burrito bowl. Thanks for tuning in. Nice talking to you. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.